Okay, continuing on with layers. Now, lots more to show you here. Now that we've got this duck on layer one all by himself, we've removed the white background. It gives me the chance to show you what are called transform tools. It's underneath Edit, go down to Transform, and there's a lot of stuff in here. Scale, Rotate, Skew, Distort, and they all work really the same way. I'll start with Scale. It brings up this box around your image that's on a layer. It's important to notice this object, this duck, is on a layer by himself, so this is why we have the ability to do this way. You click in the corners, you hold your shift key down to constrain the proportions, and you can make your duck smaller. And if you get it the way you like it, this is what everybody forgets to do, you need to double click on it. If you don't double click on it, you'll come up here and everything's grayed out. You'll wonder, why can't I access any of my layer stuff? Why can't I access any of my stuff under image? It's because you haven't finalized your move out here. You haven't finalized your scale move. And they all work the same way. I can rotate the thing, and you still have to double click when you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. Now I've got this duck kind of set up here. And you can come back, and they all kind of work similar in the same way, that you could rotate here and set them on in any angle you want. If you get it where you don't like it, if you just want to cancel it, the easiest way to cancel, it's just to click on one of your tools in your toolbox and hit Don't Apply. It's just the way I do it. Doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it. Okay, now that we've got him this size, I'm going to make multiple copies of that duck to show you the next part. So I'm going to drag layer one down to this little icon. Now we've got what's called layer one copy, which basically means we've got a second duck here. And I'm going to drag that down and make another copy of it. So now we've got layer one copy two. Now you could single click right here, double click actually, sorry, and rename these. This could be layer one. We could call this layer two, and this could be layer three. And it's a good habit to get into doing that, because you can get 20, 30 layers going over here, and you can kind of get confused with what's going on. But once you get multiple layers, there's some management type of controls in the layers palette that help us kind of keep it all organized. So we've got a lot of ducks, and I just want to kind of keep all the ducks in one group. Well, you can group your layers. In this case, I'll call my group the ducks group. And to do it, you select your multiple layers by holding down your shift key. So again, you click on one layer, hold the shift key down, click on the next one, and then the next one. And go to this little drop down. Remember this little vague drop down menu that I showed you a minute ago. Click on that and choose New Group from Layers. A little window pops up and asks you to name it. I'm going to name this my ducks group. Hit OK. And it automatically puts all those into a folder called ducks. Now, if you just open it, you can see there's your layers. And so don't let that confuse you. You still got your multiple layers. They're just all contained in this nice, tidy folder called ducks. So believe me, when you start getting a lot of layers, which you will, it's often, and if you have multiples or things that kind of go together, logically grouped together, go ahead and form these layer groups like that. It can make life a lot easier on you. Okay, a few more things. If I have multiple layers selected, like this, look at my control panel at the top up there. See these buttons at the top? Well, these are grayed out until I have these multiple duck layers chosen. Now I've got these alignment features that popped up, and they're just like the alignment features you'd see in other programs. Like, I click on this one, it'll align them all on their centers. So now I've got all the ducks lined up vertically. If I click that one and then click this one, the second one from the left, it'll line them all up on their horizontals. I didn't have the bottom one chosen there, sorry. Get them again. Now, looks like there's one duck. There's really three. They're all stacked up on top of each other. So these are pretty handy, and I haven't used this a lot, but it's helpful. There's also another thing up here in this control panel called Show Transform Controls. Notice when I take the check mark off of that, this bounding box goes away. But if the check mark's on, there's the bounding box. It's a shortcut from having to go up to Edit Transform. See that? So if that bounding box is up there, it means your transform features are available, and you can scale your duck from right there. You don't have to go to Edit Transform to do it. So some people like to keep that bounding box open all the time when they're messing around with their layers. Okay, next we're going to go into some special effects with layers. Now, briefly, let me show you one more thing. There's some buttons here in the layers palette that all have to do with locking your layer. And I mentioned the one on the far right locks the entire layer. Well, these other ones lock the pixels on the layer. Like for instance, if I'm on layer 3, and I don't know, let's say I wanted to change the color or whatever was on layer 3. In this case, it's this duck. Well, if I go to Edit, Fill, watch this. This little menu pops up, and it's going to let me fill layer 3 with whatever color I want to. You know, I can fill it with the foreground color. In this case, that's black, and I'm going to hit OK. Watch what it does. It filled all of layer 3 black, which is hiding everything beneath it. See how that's working? Layer 3 is black. It's hiding all of those. I'm going to undo that. So here's the difference. If I click this button right next to the word lock and lock the pixels on that layer, I'm not locking the whole layer. I'm just locking the pixels on it. They're activated. This time if I go to Edit Fill, and fill with the foreground color, instead of filling the entire layer 3 black, it just filled the duck black. That happened by locking this. Now this will become really handy when we start doing things like drop shadows and stuff later. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete that layer. I don't need it. And next we're going to talk about layer masks.